Davante Adams to the Jets? Come on. You can't be gullible enough to believe that, right? Right? Look, I know what Aaron Rodgers said about wanting Davante back as his teammate. He's excited to play with him again. I know what other Jets players have said as well in the media recently about talking about Davante being, their new teammate. They're excited for it. Come on. In what world are we living in that Davante is going to be a member of the Jets here in 2024? You want to know why it's not going to happen? Because it makes no sense for the Raiders to do it. Ask yourself, if you are the Raiders, why on earth, as training camp is about to start, as the offseason has already happened, free agency has come and gone, the draft has come and gone, week 1 is rolling right around the corner. Why on earth, if you didn't feel the need to trade Davante Adams back then, would you feel the need right now to trade Adams to the Jets? Make it make sense. It doesn't. Davante Adams getting traded to the Jets makes zero sense from the Raiders' perspective. And that's why a trade is not happening. At least not in 2024. Not before the season. It's not. That's for sure. I could guarantee you that. This is all a pipe dream that is going nowhere. I don't care what Aaron Rodgers says. Him and Davante in 2024 is not a reality. And the Raiders, look. You could say a lot of things about the Raiders. How dumb they are, how incompetent they are. You could make jokes about Mark Davis and his haircut. Look, all fair game. But at this point, the Raiders are not stupid enough and are not motivated enough to make this trade. Because even they would tell you, if they trade Davante Adams right now, they're doing so at a discount. Like if you think about it, right? The most value that the Raiders could get back in a Davante Adams trade would be from causing a bidding war, right? Having multiple teams involved and driving that price up. Well, you know what the worst time is to start a bidding war? Right now, right as training camp starts, right as teams have used basically all their cap space in the last few months to sign free agents, to draft players, and now they're basically up all against the cap. No one has the room for the most part to bring in a sizable contract that Davante's is this late in the game. So if the Raiders were to trade Davante right now, you are cutting off 95% of teams that possibly could be interested. Like if you fast forward here, past 2024 and go into the 2025 offseason, I was looking at the just teams around the league that could be interested in still what is a really damn good receiver who, despite the fact having last year Jimmy Garoppolo, Aiden O'Connell, and Brian Hoyer throwing him passes last year, woof. Despite that, he still was top 10 in most receiver categories. So the guy could still produce at a very high level, despite who's throwing him the football. And he's on contract through 2026, so you don't have to worry about giving him a new deal anytime soon. Why on earth would the Raiders trade him now when you look around the league, I counted at least 13 teams conservatively that would be interested in Davante's services after this season. They could have, either the salary cap room to bring him in, have the trade assets to trade for him, and have the need to still have one of the best receivers in the game on their team. So if you're the Raiders, would you rather trade Davante Adams right now to a market that is filled with one team, the Jets, or would you rather wait a few months, play through 2024, and all of a sudden go into the offseason with a market that could be almost half the league? The Raiders, I promise you, are not stupid enough to trade Adams now at a massive discount that they'd be doing if they trade him to the Jets. That's why a trade's not happening. Like, Tom Telesco, say what you want about his, free agent signings and maybe some of his draft picks. He's not an idiot. He is not dumb enough to say, you know what? Yeah, the Jets are the only team right now interested in Davante. We're going to pull the trigger. We could have more teams interested, but I'm going to self-impose this deadline that we have to trade him right now. So yeah, Jets, you take him. I'll take a bath on the return and get way less than I could have gotten if I wait a few months. Take him. Good luck this year, Jets. Go get him. There's no right now incentive for Telesco to make that deal. And for Antonio Pierce, a guy who did have a very strong finish to 2023, and that's why he had the interim tag lifted off of his head coaching title. But that's a guy who's also not stupid either. He knows the history of the Raiders. He's looked around at the coaches that have been there in the past few years and the leash and how short it's been for them. I think he is well aware he can't sign up for a rebuild. He can't sit there and say, you know what, let's tear it down, and I'm confident in 3 years I'll still be here to be on the other side of this rebuild as we try to dig our way out. They go into the rebuild 3 years from now, there's a new head coach, I can promise you that. So Antonio Pierce's, for his job security, his best interest is to have Davante on his team for at least 2024. Tom Telesco, trying to win over a new fan base as a new GM of the Raiders, well, he's not motivated to make a bad deal off the bat and trade away one of the most valuable assets on the team for less than he could have gotten if he waited. So he's not incentivized to trade Davante Adams. So why would the Raiders do it? Just because Aaron Rodgers wants to play with him? No. So I've seen that a lot on social media, like, oh, well, Ryan, of course the Raiders would make that trade. It's the Raiders. They're dumb. They make dumb decisions like this all the time. I get past history for the Raiders is not kind. There's been a lot of those bad moves. But now with Pierce and Telesco in charge, not saying this is going to be, a top 5 GM head coaching duo moving forward, they're just not dumb enough. And Mark Davis is not calling the shots enough to force this move to happen where they would take less to move Davante now. So anyone telling you, oh, Davante to the Jets, it's going to happen. Retort with, well, why would the Raiders do it? And outside of, well, it's the Raiders, there's no good answer. And so because it makes literally 0 sense to the Raiders to trade Davante Adams right now, it's not going to happen. The Raiders are not that stupid. Davante will be in Vegas for at least the 2024 season. Sorry, Jets fans. Your wishes and dreams of Davante and Aaron paired up again, this time in gangrene, not coming true, not at least in 2024.